Well, after years of gains, there is growing concern that Republicans could see big losses in the 2018 midterms. Right now, Republicans control the House and Senate in Washington, but The Hill is reporting some Republicans are worried after the 2018 midterms if there is significant voter backlash against Trump on the local level. This could all start to change. Next year's election takes on special meaning because of the upcoming redistricting process set to begin with the 2020 census. State legislatures are responsible for crafting those maps, so if voters elect Democrats to their state houses, it could eventually impact the balance of power on the federal level. Democrats lost 514 seats in the 1994 midterms as Bill Clinton's approval ratings dropped. Republicans lost 628 seats in 1974 after the Watergate scandal, and Democrats lost 762 seats in 1966 as President Lyndon Johnson's approval ratings fell during the Vietnam War. Now a new report says President Trump is telling advisors he plans to be heavily involved in the midterms and do a lot of campaigning for Republican candidates. So we're going to go to our one lucky guy for this because he's our political guru. Should Republicans be concerned considering President Trump's approval rating is very low?
The most important thing Republicans can do is govern effectively. And if we have a year like we did this year, and we pass welfare reform, and we pass an infrastructure bill, we will be in a good spot going into the 2018 elections. And to my fellow Republicans who like to worry, I think of my mother's comment, she'd be worried if she didn't have something to worry about. And that is how Republicans can be sometimes.
Yeah, well, Jessica, you were saying earlier that you believe, and your party, Democrats, think a wave election is coming based on the generic ballot and the situation in the White House. Can you expand a little bit on what's going on that side of the aisle?
Yeah, so there's hope. I mean, what happened in Alabama obviously was a boon. We have overperformed in every election that we've been in since President Trump took office, even though there were some that we didn't win, but still did better than we were supposed to. But as I said, historically, it's just time for a wave, and I would encourage everyone to look at what Amy Walter's been writing about in the Cook Report. She's really on top of this. I agree with you. The best thing Republicans can do is govern effectively, and I think as a message for both sides, we need to be very careful, Republican and Democrat, where we send our leadership. Some districts do not need Donald Trump showing up there, just like some don't need Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer. You need to run very district-specific campaigns and make sure that you're talking to voters with an awareness for who they are positive on.
Right.
I'm not so sure Alabama is an indication. I've heard a lot of people say that, but that was its own crazy land situation.
I'm just saying it's given us a little bit of a high because people still expected that Roy Moore could win despite these allegations.
Right, but I don't think that that indicates anything moving forward. Although President Trump's approval rating is an issue, he still has a base that is really, really stronger than we've ever seen. I mean, there's certain people where if you say anything mean about Trump, it's like you just attacked their own mother.
Yeah.
So that's a very, very, still an asset that he has going into midterms.
Well, and the big question, too, is the districts that President Trump won, that Obama won in 2012, whether those will go back to blue or whether they will stay red is going to be a big question, right?
Yeah, so I think this is the part where Speaker Paul Ryan and other Republicans yesterday got it right. And Diane Black, who was on Overtime, said it too, Congresswoman. When people start to open up their paychecks in mid to late February and they start to feel or don't feel the tax legislation that is being passed for a third time today as it goes to the president's desk, as the House revotes. When they start to feel that, they can make a determination on the ground around that proverbial kitchen table that we all talk about in politics, whether it's working for them. And that's why I think you're right on the president's approval ratings, because that's really all people vote on. They're not taking his poll numbers into the booth.
But David, that's a big question, though, because we have talked about on this couch last week and this week that Republicans have done a poor job, and you've admitted, of selling the Republican tax bill that is going to actually cut taxes for the majority of the middle class. If they can't use good messaging going into 2018, is that going to be a problem?
Yes.
And how do we fix that?
We have to be good
how do you solve that
promoters
problem?
of the success that we have had. But you referenced something in the top of the segment, which was redistricting. And as we look towards the drawing of lines, and I get confused. I can't decide, is this week the week that Democrats say we've so gerrymandered districts that there's no way they can win seats, or is this the week that the wave is going to be so big that they're going to take Congress? Because it can't be both. And if they truly believe they're going to take Congress next year, then all of these lawsuits that they have tied the courts systems up with, that redistricting is unfair, has all been for not any big waste of money.
Well, and one of the people who's been
not their money.
Heavily involved in the redistricting process is former Attorney General Eric Holder, who, of course, you know, was heavily involved in the Justice Department,
And,
but also in redistricting and voting going forward.
You know, not for nothing, it isn't just the redistricting process, it's the PR around it as well. I mean, that's kind of the role that I understand Eric Holder and some others who are going to be playing, and that's their role.
Isn't
Jessica.
that true for everything? I mean, just what you said about the tax bill. You know how to sell the tax bill for Republicans. I know what to say in contra that. You say, oh, you're getting a tax cut. And I said, well, wait a couple years. You're going to lose that tax cut, and it's actually going to go up on 53% of Americans. With redistricting...
It's not a couple of years.
Well, I'm just saying that's what I would say, but I didn't say that. But the point is about redistricting, especially... Everyone likes it if they're the ones drawing the lines, right? Like if Democrats can draw the lines and they can make sure that we get our voters in, that's great. If Republicans redraw the lines and they can get their voters, it's great. Which is why, you know, so many people run on getting rid of redistricting in this way, and then nothing ever happens.
Well, 2018 is going to be fun.
Like immigration reform.
Buckle your seatbelts,
I love
everyone.
2017. There are a few days left.
Yeah, there's a few days left. Here we go. All right, moving along. President Obama, he is not. President Trump revealing a new national security strategy that differs sharply from his predecessors. As the president calls it, putting America first. How this is playing on the global stage and here at home. Plus, we've seen the president and the press battle it out over the course of this year. A recent survey now showing the president may indeed have a reason to paint the press as hostile. We'll debate.